Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. You're going to want to text the word insurance to 623-AZ-RECON. That's insurance to 623-AZ-RECON. Insurance premiums are over the last couple of years, and especially in light of the hurricanes and the fires in Southern California, no pun intended, they have become a hot topic, especially when it comes down to transacting in real estate. According to the S&P Global Report, premiums have rose over 34% over the last 7 years. And people who now live in Florida, some people have seen their insurance go up approximately 400% since the hurricanes. And now, Ryan, we're starting to feel the impact here in Arizona. Obviously, we don't have too much in the way of natural disasters, but we do have the heat. And as you know, the heat can do a number on roofs. And now in Arizona, we're starting to see people have their insurance premiums or their insurance coverage canceled because of the age of their roofs.
And I think that like the only thing that jumps to my mind as far as a possible disaster was in, I think it was 2012, there was a massive hailstorm that came through the valley and everybody got a new roof. And if they had a roof mounted AC unit, they got a new AC unit too. And every single homeowner that I know milked the hell out of the system on it. Like they'd go over there and like, oh, there's a little dent. Okay, cool, full roof replacement and brand new AC unit, and I think that that kind of put us a little bit on the map as far as people or these insurance companies making adjustments. But I feel like 34% over 7 years is light.
I mean, what I see, I feel like I've seen 125, 150%
in the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's been astronomical of what we've seen on our end,
and I mean. It's come to the point where I hate to say this, but I have no loyalty to insurance companies now.
No.
Like even my good buddy, I had to call him up last year and cancel him, and I'm like, hey, I
love you.
Yeah, you're my boy. We can go out and we can have a beer and whatnot, but like, I can't do this. And then now you're trying to either like drop certain coverage. Like, you know what pisses me off the most? Like, I know we're talking about roofs and we're talking about real estate. But now all of a sudden they want to like triple my auto because I claim windshield.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I pay all kinds of extra money so that when a rock jumps up, which I mean, that's a thing in Phoenix. Like if you're on the I-17 or if you're on the I-10 and those big ass trucks, they're kicking up all kinds of stuff in the road. Like I'm good for a windshield or two a year. And so I pay the extra for that coverage.
Well, I got a buddy of mine when he gets into my car, and if there's a chip, he takes his fist and hits my windshield and cracks it. And he goes, "Hey, call my buddy."
I actually dropped.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's you. You're that guy.
I was that guy.
I actually dropped comprehensive because it saved me enough money to buy a windshield outright, and that way I didn't have to worry about getting dropped. It's
ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Well, so now that we're seeing, and this really now comes into strategies when it comes to listing your home and or just not wanting to pay more in premiums or face the risk of losing your coverage altogether. What we're seeing here in Arizona is insurance companies are starting to not cover roofs that are older than 15 to 20 years. So they may not cancel your coverage, but they're not going to include the roof. And for my money, when you take a look at the weather and you take a look at the heat, and especially during monsoon season, it could be risky to just say, okay, well, I'll take the coverage, but I'm going to forego the coverage on the roof.
I haven't had to deal with a roof replacement with insurance yet, and knock on wood, because I've owned, dozens,
I'm going to come over to your house with a sledgehammer. Hey, pal, I got to
call my buddy.
Yeah, call my buddy. Yeah. I'm like, shit, dude. The only ones that I've run into is flooding. So we've had burst pipes and burst sewer lines that have really jacked some of our homes up, and I've been lucky, man. Whenever we've had any type of issues, I get them on the phone, and the adjuster's been super cool. I don't claim a lot. Like I said, I claim my windshield, But whenever there's something that, if it's $5,000 or less, then
Right.
I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah, it'll cost you more over time.
Yeah, for sure. So at $5,000 is kind of my threshold. I might even go a little bit higher depending on what it is and depending on whether or not like I have someone in my Rolodex that I know could bang it out for super cheap, or if I can barter with them or whatever. But yeah, it's one of our rental properties. Tenant calls me up and he says, "Dude, I walked in and I mean it smelled like a latrine." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I walked into the kitchen and it's just like brown sludge everywhere. And I'm like, "Oh, Bubba, no."
Don't touch it.
Yeah, I was like,
Get away.
So I called up another buddy of mine who I knew had a vacant Airbnb right around the corner. And I was like, "Hey, dude, is it vacant?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, dude, like hook me up." And so I got a good deal on that Airbnb, pushed them over there for my contractor went in there and banged out that entire kitchen in 2 weeks. Cabinets, drywall, electrical,
awesome.
plumbing, everything. Jackhammered everything up and replaced the sewer line and the plumbing lines. So I had a really good experience with that. But then, of course, it came time to pay the piper. They said, "All right, well, your insurance is up this year." And of course, they wanted to raise it by about 80%. And I was like, "I want to stay with you guys because you did such a good job on, taking care of me. And I've been with you guys for over a decade, but, I don't claim stuff, and I claimed something one time, and now all of a sudden you're not just trying to up this premium.
Yeah.
You're trying to up the premiums on all of my insurance policies. So I'm shopping you."
Well, I think the message in that is, I think now we're at a time where I think every 12 to 24 months you need to be paying attention to your insurance coverage. And a lot of people may not realize that their insurance premiums have gone up. They may not read the emails. They might not notice because we're on auto bill pay, right? So I don't know if there's a gradual increase, but I think we're at the point every single year, because I'm working on scheduling an appointment with my guy and say, "Okay, what do I got?" And buddy, because you jacked up my rates on my cabin because of fire risks, and I gotta shop you around.
It's tough. I feel for the insurance guys because they want your business. Luckily the brokers out there, they have multiple carriers that they can shop through. But I agree with both of you. It's tough. My cabin went through the roof. I actually lost insurance on 3 different companies, and I'm just praying that my current company stays in place without giving me some astronomical increase because of fires. But yeah, I mean the roof thing has that's surprising that somebody would actually take coverage on a house that wasn't covered in a roof, because to me a roof is just as important as a foundation.
Of course.
It protects everything that's inside of the home.
Right.
And if you're not going to cover my roof, well, I mean, what am I doing?
Well, so going back to your cabin, if you guys may not know this, but FEMA's in the middle of redrawing all the flood zones and floodplains, and particularly up there in Munns Park, it's a massive impact. So is that playing at all into what that insurance looks like there?
No, I'm on a side of a mountain, so
you're okay.
I'll be okay.
You're not okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I know that we do have some floodplain and floodway actually in the middle of Phoenix. There's some areas where it is required to get flood insurance. Now, I know that we're talking about hazard insurance here, but it plays one plays into the other, and so I think that there's going to be some wake up calls when they redraw some of those lines, just because.
You think the redrawing of the lines is going to benefit people, or are they going to expand them?
Oh, they're going to expand them.
Okay.
Yeah,
of course.
That's not good.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a thing. So, flood insurance, I don't think is going to necessarily go up. I think it's just going to be there's going to be a bigger pool of homes that require flood insurance.
So here's the question, and before we jump into the question, if you'd like some more strategies and understanding insurance premiums and roof strategies, go ahead and text the word insurance to 623-AZ-RECON. That's insurance to 623-AZ-RECON. As we currently sit, inventory here in the Phoenix metropolitan area has gone up considerably. People are freaking the heck out about tariffs and uncertainties, and houses are sitting longer. And I know both of you guys are seeing this, especially you, Justin, is going back to somebody. Let's just remove the insurance aspect completely out of the way. You are selling a house and you've got a 20-year-old roof. You got to know that there's a possibility that that buyer will not be able to get insurance coverage on it, or his insurance premium is going to be incredibly high.
Yeah.
At what point, because we're seeing them on inspection reports, we're seeing them on offers, people requesting a 20, 25-year-old roof to be replaced or whatever the case is. At what point does it become a selling point for a seller, and when does a seller just take it upon themselves, say, you know what, this is going to be an incredible selling point, and I'm going to throw a new roof on here and draw more business?
I wish it was more of a selling point. I wish buyers understood what a new roof could do for them. And I feel like, as more articles come out like this, as the word spreads around, I feel like it will be. But I don't know. What is that point? When does that become more attractive? Do you guys see your buyers more attracted to homes with a new roof?
They seem pretty darn interested during the inspection period, but never. You know what I mean?
Like, hey, we're going to go look at homes. I want one with a new roof.
It's one of those things where they don't think about it until they're actually into the inspection process. And even if a seller is completely transparent, like, hey, this needs a new roof, they're still going to just throw whatever number that they want to on the contract, and then during the inspection try to recoup some of those costs.
Well, I'm not saying that people are going, hey, I'm looking for houses with new roofs. I'm talking about it's just a cool bell and whistle. So I walk into a house and I'm considering 3 houses that I might put an offer on, but the house on 123 East Main Street's got a brand new spanking roof. Would I be more attracted to that and pay a little bit more attention to that?
It's up to your wife.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, the wife is going to be like, well, what color are the cabinets?
Yeah. Would you rather have a new floor or a new roof? The wife's going to say new floor, and they're going to outrule the man.
Right.
I mean, okay, well.
Well, so how does all this play into the lending part of it? Because all these loans require a mortgagee clause, and then they have, and so they require insurance. And so I buy a home, I get insurance on it, and then something happens, they come up with a new ruling or whatever, and they say, you know what, we're either dropping you from insurance, or you know what, now your home no longer has roof coverage. And like, how does that?
So
is there even any policing on it?
There's really not I'm going to say there's not policing on just the roof. We do require the home have insurance, and the only time that we actually police the insurance is from the start of the loan, when we're actually looking at the deck page, the declarations page, and it requires full replacement. Now, let's say that an insurance company drops somebody and they don't get new insurance. We're going to force place insurance, which is going to be twice as expensive.
Ridiculously
expensive. It's crazy. But that's up to the servicer on who they're using to force place the insurance. But we definitely take a look at the policies initially. And make sure the full replacement cost is within the terms of the insurance. I mean, we don't. Here's something that a lot of people don't think about is deductibles on insurance. We don't police the deductibles on the insurance. Like with you're saying your threshold is $5,000. Well, you should make all of your deductibles $5,000 because it's going to save you money. Rather than because the standard go-to is $1,000.
Right.
That's typically what everybody. It used to be $500. Now it's $1,000 as the go-to. State Farm is like moved to 1%. But me myself, I do $5,000 myself, and in some cases I was like, man, I've debated about $10,000. Mm-hmm. So deductibles are a big deal on how much you're paying per month on your home. So something to consider.
So like because I've had clients call me up and say, hey, look, whatever happened with insurance, and then when their escrow was due or whatever, they would see that, hey, this insurance is no longer valid. It's either expired or we have a notice that it's been canceled or whatever. And so there was some policing going on there. At that point, like with some of these, now I know that lender instilled insurance is going to be super expensive, but if I can't find a policy,
it's bare bones too.
Yeah. Would it be beneficial just to say, all right, yeah, I'll leave this whole insurance shopping up to you guys?
Never.
Okay.
Don't do it. Now, when you're initially looking for a loan, what we do is, we work with multiple insurance companies and brokers. So what we like to do is take your policy. If let's say you're with Progressive to start with, and you have your auto with them. We say get a quote from them, send it over. We'll shop out other companies for you, and we'll send over the best quotes there. Compare it all, because we want them to make the decision. I don't want to make the decision on insurance, just in case there's something within it that I don't understand, right? But I'll send you out some quotes, and you decide who you want to use. Typically, just like you guys are talking about, you need to shop your insurance every 12 to 24 months. Typically, the insurance policies all across the board are much cheaper than what they've seen from their current carrier. But that's how we like to play it. We don't really mess with it after the fact. If somebody asks us for help after the fact, we'll put them in contact with somebody. But yeah.
Copy that.
All righty. Well, if you got questions about getting qualified and understanding how insurance plays a role in that, and you got questions, or maybe you got a shitty roof and you need to open up our Rolodex, and you need some quality people to come out, take a look, and give you a fair estimate, go ahead and text the word insurance to 623-AZ-RECON. That's insurance to 623-AZ-RECON.